Good morning, fellow Utopians, and welcome to a beautifully utopic day at Ewetopia Farms. Finally, the sun is shining. Still extremely wet, as you can see, but it's so nice to have some sunshine. Hopefully, for our day tomorrow, it's sunny too, because I heard it's supposed to be cloudy and rain coming in again. But it would be nice if it would hold off so people could tour the farm better. And here's my greeting committee. The boys. Oh, Ferdinand, you look different when you're sheared. And of course, Scotty is part of that greeting committee here. Hi, Scotty. How you doing? Yeah. Hi, boys. So we're just gonna wait now because I hear Arnie's got the skid steer going, and I see that their hay feeders are out of hay, so these guys are waiting for breakfast. Oh, I thought it was open. Honey, General, what was you doing? It doesn't come quicker that way. So we got, this would be Geronimo, General. Over here came our new ram. Well, he's new in that he's one of our yearlings. We call that guy, we call him Drax. And then here we have, let's see your face. This is another yearling. Oh, this is the snappy yearling. And this is Handsome. Sometimes I have to look closely at their faces when they're all gathered. And here we have the one and only Gladiator. Hi, buddy. Hard to see close up. We'll stand back. The Gladiator's at the end there. He's looking a little ratty now. Gotta get some fresh... Gladiator didn't want to have the attention taken away from him. That's one of our yearling ram lambs. All the yearlings in here we have up for sale because some people, us included, prefer buying yearling rams as opposed to ram lambs. Some people are afraid to deal with a yearling for some reason. I'm not sure why, but in general, we prefer, if we're going to buy a ram in, that we buy a yearling, because I think I mentioned before the lambs can change, and it's not always in a good way as they grow up. So by a year old, they're pretty well set, so you know exactly what you're getting. And not only that, they're ready to breed a whole group of sheep, whereas a ram lamb, you really can only put them with a maximum of 20 sheep. Okay, the hay is here, so we're gonna open the gate, which should be a challenge since they're all here. There we go, and we're in. So I guess today we'll discuss why we chose to have Suffolk sheep. Tomorrow we'll probably, well, tomorrow's the tour, so it'll be about the tour. But the day after I'll do why we chose to have Dorset sheep. But Suffolk was the first breed that we had. And the reason we chose them basically is they are the king of the meat sheep. They're one of the, if not the top-rated terminal sire. And the whole point of having sheep is to produce meat. And they produce meat. And not only do they produce good quality lean meat, they also do it very quickly. Their growth rates, as you've seen with our lambs, are extremely high. So if you're going to have fatalities in your sheep or problems with sheep, it generally tends to be with lambs, because yeah, they're more susceptible to entrapment, to getting injured, and parasites and everything. So the quicker you get them out of here, the better it is. Hi, Glad. Don't go out, okay? Hi, Glad. Hi, sweetheart. And on top of them being fast growth and good meat sheep and fantastic terminal sires, they have extremely good disposition, and they're easy to work with. The rams are never a problem with us. So another thing about Suffolks is you can get various styles of Suffolks. We're in Canada, and the Canadian style of Suffolk is obviously more popular here. It's a phrase that we coined, actually, because so many people would call asking for replacement lambs or breeding rams, and would ask what type of sheep did we have. Did we have British? Did we have American? And when you look at our rams here, there are various sizes and styles in here, because we like to have a variety of styles. But the main reason we have the variety of styles is we want to create an in-between sized Suffolk. And it got a little tedious explaining, well, we have a cross between the British and the American, and not having a name for it, so we just called it Canadian. So when our sheep get too tall, which is more the American style, we will use a British ram, which is a shorter, stockier built sheep, on any of the tall ewes to bring it down. And we're always aiming for like a medium-sized ram or sheep, like that one that just walked up. Most of these are Canadian style, which is that medium cross, and that's what we prefer here. It's what our buyers are looking for. That's why we're constantly crossing them, and you'd think that our sheep would be all over the board, but because we do it consistently, putting taller rams on shorter ewes and vice versa, the lambs, when we go into the lamb barn, you'll see they actually turn out fairly consistent, and you do want consistent lambs. And the reason you want consistent lambs is because, again, that's what the market wants. When you take lambs to market, they don't want to have to sort your sheep out and put them into different pens, because that's how they're sold at an auction mart. They try to group the lambs according to their weight and their size, whereas if they're consistent, they can just run off the truck and off they go, and they're peas in a pod. The people at the sales barns love you for that. Suffolk sheep have the added bonus of being extremely long-loined and wide if you know what to select for, and it's easier to find good conformation on a Suffolk because people have been breeding them for hundreds of years, and because they are a beautiful looking sheep, they go to the shows. So because they're going to the shows, people have also been breeding for that good conformation, and over the centuries that tends to pass on. So generally, as long as your breeder knows what they're doing, you can find a well-built Suffolk. And this is a little sign I put up in our feed room describing the 10 Commandments of Suffix. I got this on the internet from an unknown source, but I always liked it. So They say Suffolks are top for superior growth rate. Suffolks are top for easily fleshed and early finishers, meaning that the lambs grow quickly. Suffolks are top for foot rot resistance, and I would agree with that. We rarely have Suffolks with bad hooves, and I think even Arnie, when he's trimming the hooves, he's talked to you about that. Suffolks are top for milk yield. People overlook that with Suffolk ewes, but you really need to think if a sheep is growing a lamb a pound a day, she's got to be producing a lot of milk, and they are great milkers. There's no way you can have a lamb grow that fast without a good mom. Number 5, Suffolks are top for mastitis resistance, and I think I've mentioned that to you before as well in my videos, that we don't often have udder problems with our Suffolks. We have way more problems with our Dorsets. Number 6, Suffolks are top for scrapie resistance. We have scrapie resistance in both our breeds. Suffolks are top for producing hardy, lively turnout lambs. I would agree that they are very hardy, lively when they go out in the field and stuff like that. Definitely, absolutely. Suffolk rams are ideal cross on all breeds. That's something else we always tell people, that anything you put a Suffolk on will improve your lambs, and we totally agree with that. Suffolks are the only dual-purpose breed. This was written in the, I'm pretty sure, UK. Dual-purpose breed, meaning it's a fantastic meat sheep and a fantastic mother sheep. The word only, maybe not so much. Now, maybe I would agree with that, because to be honest, most of the other terminal breeds, Texels and stuff like that, not to badmouth them, but I do find that they, from our experience with the other terminal breeds, is that they are not as motherly, whereas Suffolks are great moms. And Suffolks produce lots of lambs in both quality and quantity. So you see our humdinger lambs, and the Suffolks throw them. I will agree with that. And quantity, perfect too. Our first group of January lambs, you saw that we had 1.9 was our percentage. They are rated at 1.8. And for our situation, we love that. So if we get triplets, we have often ewes that can foster on, so that at the end of the day, everybody's raising twins. It's perfect. I'm avoiding milk machines and bottle babies and stuff like that. And twins, that will help with the udders not getting mastitis, because you'll have a lamb sucking on each teat. They've got 2 teats. So, yeah, in that way, they are ideal. And so I always like this little sign, and I will show people that quite often, because whoever wrote it, I do have to agree with everything on that list. And here's an example of bottle babies, okay? So, the 2 there, yeah, I believe the mom died, right? And she was an old girl, and little Kit here was premature, so we just took her off the mom. But these guys are not a month old, and these are bottle babies, who are basically usually the duds of the group. But these guys, you can just see what a Suffolk does for you. This kind of muscling already, the big, strong, powerful shoulders and the width. That's not too many breeds you get that, but that's a terminal trait. That's what the terminal breeds do for you, and that is why commercial breeders should be looking at a terminal breed ram to add that extra growth and meat on their lambs. People will often complain about paying the price for a good ram, but we charge basically a ram would be the price that you'd get for 3 market lambs. And even on a small flock, that pays back your ram very, very quickly. And after that, he's all profit, like the years that you keep him. And it's not just about how long you get to keep them, because there are limits on how long you can keep your ram. You can always use them on the same ewes, but offspring, you can't use them on the offspring, so you are going to have to be flipping your rams. But you also have to be adding and taking into consideration the more muscular lambs that a good ram is going to give you, and the quicker they're going to get to market. So that's added value as well. So if he adds another 25 bucks to every lamb, you got to count that too. And if he gets them to market even a month earlier than normally, that's all the feed and upkeep and labor that you would have had to put into your lambs in the past that the ram has also provided for you. To me, paying as much as you can possibly afford for a good high quality ram it's a no-brainer. Like, it's you can never make such a good investment on your sheep farm as getting in a good ram. He will do it all for you. The only time where it can bite you is if he dies. And yeah, that can happen. So these are mostly Suffolk ewe lambs in here. Some of them would be Suffolk crosses. These are the January lambs. So they're all weighing on average 100 pounds. 100 pounds plus. These are ewe lambs. So that the ratio for this group was 1.9 lambs per ewe. And hi. The other thing I like about the Suffolk ewes is, and yeah, not all Suffolk ewes would be like this, but you see the good square rumps they have and the wide spacing between the legs. Like I say, I'm thinking that Suffolks have been shown and used for breeding stock for so long that people have selected for these good qualities. And that wide rump and the wide spacing between the legs makes for a good udder placement. So if their legs were tighter together, the udder would have less room to grow. So what would tend to happen is the udders would grow longer and lower. Whereas if you have a nice wide ewe like that, the udder will grow wider to fill in that gap, and you'll have a tighter udder that's up close that lambs are able to nurse off of more easily. That's what we like. And Suffolk ewes, they have a big body capacity. So you can see they have really long, deep, wide bodies. Again, not all Suffolks do. You have to go to a good breeder. But in general, the good breeders will have this kind of depth and size to their ewes. And a ewe that's built like that can eat well. Her organs develop and function at prime ability, and she has got plenty of room to hold lambs, and then of course she's got that good udder to feed the lambs, so and the good legs to hold her up at the same time. So all those things you're looking for in any sheep, but I find Suffolks in particular carry those traits, and that's what you want in a sheep, and that's what make Suffolk ewes fantastic mothers and breeders, and they're just beautiful sheep. If I was gonna fault them, because to be honest, there is no perfect sheep, and there is no perfect breed, and there's no one perfect breed for everyone, because everyone wants to do something different. So you have to think of what the goals in your farm are. If you are purely a commercial meat farm and you want to breed once a year, a Suffolk ram on your ewes is gonna definitely increase your lamb size and getting them to market quicker. So I would recommend that. But if you're wanting to go out of season, Suffolks don't want to breed out of season. Now, mind you, we start breeding our Suffolks in August, and they will breed all the way up to like February. So they'll breed from August to February. It's a fairly large window. I've heard some people don't have such success getting January Suffolks, but we never have. And we have had a few go out of season, but it's rare. So if you want to do out of season breeding, a Suffolk ewe is not the ewe for you. But if you want to have a winter group, they're fantastic. I would put them at my top favorite of all ewes. The other fault, so out of season breeding, if you want that, that would be considered a fault because they tend not to. The other fault is their lambs are slower to get up and nurse in general, not always, but in general. You won't notice it on a small flock of Suffolks, I find. Like when we had 20, 30, even 50, I couldn't figure out what people were talking about with that. But when we have over 200 Suffolk ewes, then you begin to notice it. And we notice it more because we are lambing in January and February when it's really cold and you really want the lambs up and nursing. If we were lambing them in May, probably wouldn't care. But we want the lambs up quickly, so generally we will assist the lambs in that we will make sure they get up and have their first drink of colostrum, just to be on the safe side. We don't have to do that as much with our Dorsets. But in the wintertime, to be honest, we do check everyone for that because it's the temperatures that can really bring a lamb down very quickly. So, but that would be a fault with the Suffolks. And I guess the only other fault would be that they're large. And maybe if you're a smaller person and have to flip and trim their hooves and stuff and don't have a machine to do it, they might be more difficult to handle in that way. But they're not more difficult to handle disposition-wise, because we find Suffolks to have just wonderful dispositions. They're very quiet. As you can see, they're all up around me. They're not nearly as spooky as some other breeds, and that is another reason I like them, because I don't want my sheep running away from me when I walk in the barn. And finally, I guess we'll talk about the Suffolk rams in general. In general, they are big, powerful looking rams, or they should be. We find that they have really quiet dispositions. You see us walking in with our rams all the time. We don't have aggressive rams, and we don't tolerate aggressive rams. So we are breeding for that, and I think you can breed for that with any type of sheep. But this guy, he's not marked in our keeper group. This little darker one there in the middle. But for most people, and this guy too walking by, we can't keep everybody, but these are 3-month-old lambs, and that guy too. But they grow so fast. They have really good muscling on them. In a ram, you are looking for that bulky head on them because those are the male testosterone power traits that you're looking for in a sheep. And a Suffolk ram, when he's got all that and he's in the field, to me there's nothing more impressive. That's why if you go to sheep shows and look, you'll always see the Suffolk class. You'll find they will have the most number of sheep in the class because they're extremely popular breed for the obvious reasons that they are, I would say, the best breed of sheep. And also because they look so good. So at the shows, people may dwindle off and look at other things as the shows go on, but inevitably everybody turns up for the Suffolk show because they look good, they walk good, they are powerful, they just show really well. And even if you hate Suffolks, you can't deny their ability to impress. They are a really, really nice animal. So now I'm in the dry ewe pen. So these are the ewes that had those January lambs, and we've pulled the lambs off them. So generally at all farms, after you pull the lambs, that's when the mothers look their worst. Their wool is getting ratty. They're probably in a lot poorer condition because the lambs have sucked them dry, taken all the fat off them. So I brought you in here to show you what worst case scenario looks like and to show you udders. So some people are really extreme on the drying up, remove water and stuff from the ewes for a few days to assist in the drying up process. We don't bother doing that. We don't find it necessary. We do put them on dry hay as opposed to using wrapped hay still, which is a little lower in nutritional value. But you can walk along the line, and we haven't pulled the culls out of here yet either. But right now, these basically look like open ewes. You can see her udder a bit still. See it in there? But see how it's all even and smooth? She's drying up just fine. When you're looking for problems, you're looking for uneven, dangly, lumpy, misshapen udders. And they really stand out at drying time. And we're walking along here, and there's about 100 sheep in here right now. And you can see there are no udder issues here. It's something that I find is a really, really big bonus with Suffolks. And I think it's because those lambs are drinking so much milk that by the time we wean them, and we wean at 3 months just so that they do dry up, I think the ewes have no more milk left to give them, so they're pretty well dried up by the lambs themselves. And it avoids mastitis, because that's what you're worried about when you're drying ewes, is mastitis. So that I really, really like that about the Suffolk ewes. They they can deliver those lambs, nurse them, look after them, and clean up real well afterwards. And because they are heavy eaters, but they'll eat and get themselves in condition really quick and be ready to do the same thing again in a few months. So that's another bonus in Suffolks. But I thought I'd show you this because I find the ewes do really well. And some of these girls are 10 years old. This one has a little dangly, her bag's a little danglier. I don't know if you can see it in there. But again, it's even. It's hanging more, and if I look on her wool, I see she had triplets. 3 dots there. So that lets me know she raised triplets. Triplets are harder on udders too. Those lambs will grab and tear at those nipples because they got another lamb that wants to go on there too. And they can really damage udders. And that's why a lot of people will pull the 3rd lamb off. So someone asked me why we chose Suffix, so I think I covered all the reasons why we do. I don't want to be overly long-winded, so I will get into our Dorsets in another video and talk to you about them, because they're a totally different breed. They're not like Suffolks at all, except that they're sheep. So, well, after the farm tour tomorrow, I will do a video on our Dorsets. Back to the ram pen, and I just realized maybe that I should mention one other thing that Suffolks get criticized for, and that's the amount of food that they eat. And I will admit that they will eat more food than an average Dorset or a Texel, but you also have to take into consideration that they are a much larger framed animal. So our rams here probably averaging 300 pounds, 350 maybe. And the ewes are between 220 and 250 pounds. So as with a human, like if you're a bigger person, you eat more just to maintain your body size. So when I make dinner, Arnie eats twice as much as I do. It's not that he's a harder keeper per se, but it's just that if you have a bigger animal, you gotta feed them more. So proportionate to their size, they're not eating like gross amounts. They're eating what they need to maintain their size. So if you don't want to feed as much feed, get a smaller breed. But if you have big breeds, you gotta feed them more. But likewise, you're gonna have bigger lambs, heavier lambs, lambs that grow quicker. So it all goes hand in hand. You'll get more for your lambs at market because they'll be bigger, they'll get there faster. And at the end of the day, when you take your sheep to the sales barn, it's not how many head of sheep you bring into the sales barn, it's how much your sheep weigh. And these singles are weighing a lot, the twins are weighing a lot, and the triplets are weighing a lot. People tend to forget that too when they are mentioning all the quads they get. But if I can raise 2 twins and have the same weight as quads without any bottle feeding, without keeping them here for 6 months, maybe more, to get them to the same weight, I don't want to waste my time with it. To me, as much as I love the sheep, I want to be as hands-off as I possibly can be. So, that's our story about the Suffolks. I'll go ask Arnie if he has anything to add. Okay, so we'll just ask Arnie here. He wasn't with me, so he didn't hear what I said. So I'll just delete anything he repeats that I said, but can you tell me what it is you like about Suffolk sheep? Why Suffolks? Don't compare the other breeds, just talk about Suffolk.
Well, I guess I like the Suffolk breed because they're probably the most handsome breed of all the breeds, I think. You have a beautiful Suffolk, but besides the point. Well, they're the fastest growing sheep of all sheep. They got a big carcass. They got the 10 Commandments, and
yeah, I did.
I can't memorize all of them.
I did that. I did that.
But when I heard about 10 Commandments, I thought, oh, it's just some Suffolk breeder trying to promote Suffolks. But if you look at it, most of those 10 Commandments on the Suffolks is actually true.
I went right through them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually a strong breed, a real strong breed. Yeah, they're... So
do you like them? Would you recommend them?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I like other breeds too, but the Suffolk is I don't know, maybe is the right word, you biased?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm biased to it, but
we have had lots of breeds in here, and I would say probably Suffolk is our favorite, right?
Yeah, I can name off a few I wouldn't have, but I'm not going to name them off.
No, this is about Suffolks.
Yeah, I actually like the breed.
A lot of people will say, yeah, well, I have quads off my sheep, and the mother has enough milk to feed them all, so she feeds them all. And that way, that's their way of justifying that the quads are better, because they're not putting that milk replacer and all that energy into feeding the lambs. But to be honest, we have had Suffolks that can raise triplets too, but just because something can do it doesn't mean you should do it, because if you leave that many lambs on a ewe, inevitably she's going to be destroyed. You saw Kit Kat and Caboodle on the feeder the other day. Imagine that bottle feeder was a ewe, but there were only 2 bottles there. What happens when they're young, it's no problem. They take their turns, they knock each other off. But when they get older, they do like Kit did. When one tries to push it off, they clamp down and fight over the nipple and hold on to it, and you will have lambs literally bite the nipples right off, bruise the mom because they're pounding away at her udder. The udder gets destroyed, and once the udder is destroyed, you have to destroy the ewe. So it's not a good idea. Like I said, Suffolks are heavy milkers. They could probably raise them all. But you shouldn't do it. You're going to damage your ewe, and 3 lambs sharing the milk, by the time they're getting up there in age, they're probably not doing as well as if you had taken the time and spent the money on just topping them up.
Let me say something for a second.
Yeah.
So, we've got to be real honest about everything, okay? So we know for a fact that the Suffolk gains a pound a day. 100 days, I can have that lamb to market in great shape at 100 pounds, 95, 105 pounds. Some of them actually go way higher than that, but that's odd. But to say a Suffolk is a good milker, people are going to say, well, everybody says that, Arnie. But you gotta do the math a little bit. If the lamb is growing a pound a day, it's not getting a pound a day on air. It's getting a pound a day on a lot of milk that Suffolk is producing. So you can question that, and you wonder some of the other breeds that don't grow a pound a day, well, probably aren't getting the same amount of milk and probably don't have the same muscling. So, but I'm not cutting up a breed. I'm just
That's
saying,
part of the 10 Commandments,
right.
that they're a dual-purpose breed. They throw out the meat and they throw out the milk.
If you took your pencil and paper out and really do the math, you can figure it out on your own. A pound a day, where does it come from?
So, everybody, that's basically 2 people's opinion of why we like Suffolks the best and think they're the basically ultimate breed. We think they can improve anyone's farm or anyone's flock, as long as you don't want to do out-of-season breeding.
You can say one more thing.
Okay, but I might have already said it, you realize.
No, say one more thing you probably didn't say.
Okay.
One thing I will say, and I'll swear by it, a Suffolk will improve any breed.
I said it.
Did you really?
Of course I did.
Which some other breeds, I wonder why you want to cross them. But the Suffolk will improve any breed. So it's a real good foundation flower, or a foundation sheet, that you can work on with anything. Anyways, enough preaching.
Yeah, that's going to be our Suffolk video for the day. And we're not trying to downplay anybody else's breed, but Suffolks are what we have. The question was put to us why we like Suffolks, why we chose them, and what we like about them, and also I told you what we don't like about them. So that's the way it is, and it's our opinion.
It's a pound a day. Look.
This guy's a February lamb.
What have you been eating? What have you been eating?
I've been sucking off my mom. Seriously.
Look. Is he 100 days old?
No.
He's not.
No.
Well, don't show me when he's 200 days old. Oh, and look how wild he is. Look at the wild breed.
Yeah, I know.
Run.
Okay, this is going to be a really long video, so I apologize for that. But that is our video on Suffolks for today. And tomorrow we got our farm tour, so I'll do a video of how that goes. And I'll be posting that the day after this one. Okay, so we're going to close the gate on another episode at Ewetopia Farms. I'm glad you joined us, and I hope you'll join us next time for the next episode at Ewetopia Farms. Bye for now.